Hello, Michael Swain here for Kansas football's 27-20 win over UCF here inside of the Bounce House in Orlando. And the Big 12 is going to Big 12. One-score games are going to be abundant this season, and Kansas gets a one-score victory here in thrilling fashion. And it was a real Jekyll and Hyde performance, specifically from the Kansas defense, and I think that's exactly where we're going to start. Where, man, the first half was ugly. And if you looked at the stats at halftime, UCF was on pace to put up over 500 yards of offense against KU, just north of 250 yards at halftime. And it was not a good half for the Jayhawks. And just issues that I think you really have seen pop up at times this year, but the fact that they were so consistent, right? Missed tackles, missed assignments, open gaps. It was ugly. And it's something that, Lance Leipold talked about a little bit post-game, where KU did not set the edge. So all of a sudden you got guys like Miles Montgomery or Nixon that are able to get to the outside, and when they do that, they've got the speed to make you pay. And that's how a guy, like I believe it was Montgomery, had the 46-yard run. That's how that happens. You don't set the edge, and all of a sudden you can get to the outside and make guys miss, and he's gone. And that was KU's issue in the first half. Some missed tackles, and it was just ugly. KU looked like it could not stop a nosebleed, and that was a huge concern going into the second half, because one of the big things you look at KU's run defense, and I feel like we've talked about this in past videos, like so much of it is predicated on the defensive line getting upfield and creating knockback to where linebackers can get through and make plays because the linebackers are in the right spot. And the issue with this game was the fact that the defensive line wasn't really getting upfield as much in the first half. You didn't see that same intensity that you did see in the second half. And then the linebackers were a gap off. Like, you can look at the first touchdown run for UCF, and John Kamara is a gap over, right? He's one, if you're watching on TV, he's one to the downside. And it leaves a hole wide open. And if your guy's in the right spot there, right, he's able to make a play or be in his position to make a play. And that just wasn't the case in the first half. And then at halftime, KU gets Bengali Kamara back, and what a game changer. It's something where you get to watch when KU has something and then it doesn't. That's different than when you watch them not having something and then having it, right? You didn't notice it as much, or at least I didn't, at the end of the Cincinnati game, right? The fact that KU did not have Bengali out there. Well, man, if you didn't notice him in the second half, what game were you watching? Because you probably weren't watching this one. It was a great performance, and some of those same issues we saw in the first half, right? Setting the edge. Well, what does he do on the first plays out there? Sets the edge, forces a guy to go back inside, tackle. Boom. 1-2 yard gain max. Those are the types of plays that KU needs, and as he had the athleticism to get up the field and set the edge and create that kind of little area, I guess, that encompasses the running back and keeps him from going anywhere. So it's a big play, and having him back for KU in the second half is so huge. I mean, he ends up making several plays, and there are a couple coulda, shoulda, wouldas too. He could have had another sack, got really close to sacking Fancher, and all of a sudden KU's defense in the second half, it looks totally different. 3 yards per play for UCF in the second half. I believe they got up 122 yards of total offense in the second half, half as much as they did in the first half. And so as a result, that platform then gives KU the chance to win the ball game, right? The defensive stand right behind me, like right in here, that happens because KU's defense and the defensive line is really creating knockback against this UCF offensive line. The linebackers are there, right? Bengali makes a great play where he jumps over the pile and single-handedly grabs Fancher to keep him from going over. Trey Lathan on the fourth down makes a play that ends up getting the stop. KU's defense stepped up in big moments. Without that, KU does not win this game. Because offensively, it was an up-and-down performance from KU as well, right? It's a pretty decent start to the game. Poor first drive, but from there, KU responds. They hang around. You can look at it at halftime, and it's not bad. And then you get to the second half, and KU's able to score, but it's not always super pretty, and KU ends up having to settle. Some flags pop up, procedure penalties. It still is not a crisp total performance. But again, at the end of the game, KU's defense helped out the offense just like how the offense helped out the defense in the first half and kept it from being a total blowout. So it's one of those where, is there stuff to work on? Sure. But, man, you look at a gutsy performance coming on the road, it's raining, it's just one of those intangibles types of games that I think is really positive for KU. And, again, there are still issues. You can see it at times where KU's defensive backs are learning on the job, right? Austin Alexander is the perfect example. Made some mistakes today, totally. makes a really great play on the pass breakup, again, here in this end zone to my right at the end of the game. And these young guys like him and Jalen Todd all of a sudden, after playing outside corner all year, slots inside and plays nickel in this game, and he's got to be an important person in the run fits. And KU at safety's got guys banged up. Devin Dye hurts his hamstring. Taylor Davis has his foot in a boot in the second half. You got Jalen Dye playing out there, who's a kind of a third string guy there. Well, guess what? He makes a strip sack. Like, it's just one of those performances. Guys are improving. You're seeing some of that, but there's some of that just intangible stuff that some of the guys you needed to step up and make plays stepped up and made plays in the second half. And that's big, and that's how you win a one-score game. And so are there still things that you're going to look at with the clock management at the end of the game? Sure. Yeah. That's just going to be there, I think. But KU made the plays it needed to win the game. And that's what matters. And it's season changing. It really is. It's crazy how in a sport like this, 4 plays can change your complexion of a season. Because if KU loses this game, all of a sudden, it's full panic stations, right? KU's looking at a stretch where it's got to play at Texas Tech, gets a bye week. You play K-State at home. That's not going to be an easy game. It never is. And, KU could theoretically lose that one. Then they play Oklahoma State. Okay, whatever, that's a win. Then you go on the road to play Arizona. So then you bye week, Iowa State, Utah, season over. Like, you're starting to look at the rest of the season if KU doesn't win this game, saying, man, how is a bowl path going to come to fruition? Well, now KU wins this game. If you want to count Oklahoma State, right? You can't ever say that, they're going to win, but Oklahoma State's terrible. KU should win that game, and we'll probably win that game. Now you're looking at basically KU has to win one of K-State, Texas Tech, Arizona, Utah, Iowa State. I like KU's chances to pull out a win in one of those, if not multiple. We'll see about the multiple part. But for KU, it's just a season changer. And so now KU's going to go home. Look, they're going to get home so late. I think 3, 4 a.m. is what I heard about when they'll land in Topeka. That's going to make for a long Sunday. It's going to make for a really interesting start to the week of prep for KU as they get ready to go play Texas Tech on the road. But that's enough of that. Look, for KU, this is a big-time win. Again, not perfect. I think there's still some stuff. If you want to be concerned about it, totally. Feel ya, right? But a win is a win. And for Kansas, they got the win, and they did what it took to win, and that's what matters. So that's what I got. Obviously, more analysis to come. I'm going to do some film room stuff, I think, on the defense and what kind of changed, and maybe some stuff on the offensive line and the run game as well, because things still just aren't quite clicking in the run game, and that's going to be really important as KU gets into the second half of the season. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure you're checking out fog.net. Got all sorts of coverage for you from here in Orlando, so make sure you're checking that out. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you all again later.